Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Bear Family Farms for one of the long lost and forgotten type videos. We're back to the Permaculture Piracy series because I have come back with new treats for the most neglected part of our yard and garden here, which turns out I'm not the only person doing this. I've recently been looking into a gentleman by the name of Mark Shepard. He's got something he calls sheer total utter neglect, and apparently I've been doing that for years. Only just found out about him though, so yes, needless to say, I've been enjoying what I've been reading so far. Anywho, that kind of does relate though, because in a lot of his plantings he uses hazelnuts, and apparently I have found a rather healthy source of naturalized American hazelnuts. I forget what the actual Latin term is, but whatever. These are the smaller ones that are a little bit more of a pain to get into, but I don't really care because I'm going to get some hazelburts in the future that I want to plant in the garden for us humans to harvest. However, these ones I'm planting in known squirrel track zones so that hopefully they'll be baited by them and they'll leave our harvest alone. However, hazelnut is a hazelnut, and if I can get a few of them along the way, well, I'm going to try and do that too, aren't I? Because, you know, all of those wonderful products that, well, go along with hazelnuts, and most of them are mixed with chocolates, and we all know I like to make my brownies, so I'm sure you can see where this is going. Anyway, let's take a look at what I have been strongly assured are hazelnuts. So, beginning of, well, I think last spring, a gentleman I work with gave me these raspberries here, and as you can see as we move along here, they have been getting that sort of stun, super neglected treatment, and most of them have not made it, which is just fine. If they're not going to live in this sort of situation, then I don't really want them anyway, but I do want to put something in their place, so that's where I'm going to put most of these hazelnuts that I dug up today. Let's take kind of a closer look here, and getting up, we can see little tiny catkins on there, so I'm hoping that these are getting near to a production stage, and I won't have to wait too many years before the squirrels, or I, we'll see who gets to them first, get something of a harvest. But considering all that was spent on them was maybe an hour hanging out in the woods with somebody from work, and some, a couple new bends in the shovel. But I've got 3. They're about the same size as this one we're looking at here. I'll show you the others here. Here's the second one. This one gave me a little bit of struggle and isn't quite at the catkin stage. Well, that might be one right there, actually. So it's just barely gotten to it. But down at the bottom, we can see kind of the root structure on these. These are kind of a suckering plant. So this is a pretty solid wood. When I got home, I was joking with Shocks. I'm like, some plants send out roots as suckers, and they're easy enough to get through. That stuff might as well have been bridge cable. That was crazy. But it sticks in the ground fairly well. And these particular ones, I got lots of these root hairs off to the side, and I'm really hopeful for this particular planting. And considering how this stuff spreads out, like so, if I get one that grows, I will have hazelnuts here, so no worries there. And then we'll take a look at the third, fairly decent digging. That would be this one here. It's actually a few different plant grasses in here, but this, I think, is another hazel. Pretty sure this one's a hazel. Nice chunk of root on that. I could probably separate these, but I'm not going to, because if they take over this chunk back here, great. I've got no real worries there. I've got a Saskatoon here that I'm hoping will show signs of life this year. If not, I will try again, because that kind of represents the end of this chunk of garden that I built up with our sod bricks. So, Saskatoon, hazelnut, and then we've got one of the raspberries that survived the neglect. And then another hazelnut, and I'm hoping to put some more raspberries in. And/or, I'm also kind of thinking gooseberries in the really low layer, because I've got like so many of those now, and they're so easy to layer. So I'm going to get started planting these in because, well, sooner planted, sooner done. And then we'll get back to it. That didn't decompose very well. Cardboard did its job though, for the most part. All right. Straighten up and grow right, buddy. That was a surprisingly good fit. Looks like it's always been there. Timing on this works well too, because I've got to empty out the outside fish tank, so might as well put that fish enriched water to good use. Now, with any luck, I can survive a little neglect. And judging by the forest where I found it, it'll be just fine. So what, maybe about half an hour to get them all planted in. I did the original 3 that I had shown you, and a 4th one that I was going to put somewhere else. Because why not? I can. Tore down all the grasses, packed them down. I don't know, maybe another layer of mulch on there before the winter. Got some very unkempt grass here. Giving it a quick mow, collecting the leaves and such. Probably not a terrible idea. And if it'll help these guys bunker in for their first winter here, great. But I know they're hardy to our local temperatures because they came from 7 miles away. I know, I checked the odometer as I went. And I'm like 98% sure that these are, in fact, wild American hazelnuts. So, guess a couple years I'll find out for sure. But here's to hoping that they grow in my wonderful little neglected bunker back here. Some of the raspberries made it, who knows. These might as well. And that leaves me with these 3 much smaller, much younger ones here. Going to be a lot longer before they produce anything for me, I'm sure. But most of them seem to have survived my assault with at least some root hairs on there. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put these though, because just over here in the swale garden, as the chickens go crazy like they do, I put 17 little gooseberries that I had discovered that had naturally rooted themselves over the course of this last year. And I'm thinking I'm going to get some hazelberts and put one of those on each end. They're supposed to be about 6 feet apart. That's, maybe 8, whatever, they'll grow. And they get to be like 12 feet tall. So I'll have my big old pillars, little gooseberries, some red currants in the middle. And I'm thinking about ordering some white currants to go on either side of it. Maybe let them fill in the back of it. And then, yeah, more gooseberries along nice and low. And another hazelbert there. So I don't want to put these American hazelnuts in here. And I'm not quite sure where I do want to put them. So until I figured that out, I guess, I don't know, I guess I kind of just need to put them somewhere safe. But yeah, it's just a random permaculture pirate kind of video reminding you all that there is so much food growing wild all around you. Don't be afraid to ask somebody if they know where to find this, that, or the other thing. Don't be afraid to go out there with a shovel. I mean, don't take the last of anything growing in an area because that's just not cool. In the case of these, I would be surprised if there were less than 100,000 stalks of these things coming up. So I will take a tour up there on the Outdoor Channel, show everybody what I'm talking about and how we identified these as, American hazelnuts. But yeah, just a quick reminder, you don't need to be hungry. There is food out there, so Go look for things that you can dig up really quick, invest an hour collecting, half an hour installing in your yard, and eat from for the next 25 years, because that's basically free. And most groceries, not free. So yeah, just food for thought, literally. Much love, everybody. Thank you for joining me here on Bear Family Farms. If you liked the video and you're new to the channel, click subscribe, all that social media blah blah blah. And yeah, I'll be back soon with that long-awaited opinion on a couple of different ways to water your chickens in -40 winters. All right, take care, everybody. I'll see you next time.